out your weapons. You are no match for Motaro.
It was a very amazing blessing to be able to get that part, and thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate that. I had to actually audition for that part 5 different times, and once I got it, they literally took me to Amsterdam, and they had to give me classes on how to walk like I had 2 legs behind me, and they had a gentleman that actually played the my rear end, and so we had to learn how to walk in unison like an animal, and it was really a very interesting experience.
Yeah, and I suppose, Deron, one thing that strikes me about the character Motaro as a very such is that in terms of sheer sort of gigantism, in terms of that, how in terms of the costume and the bottom parts and all that putting together of the Motaro character, it's not one that you can just go from scene to scene and just pop out and pop back in again. I imagine there's an awful lot of work to assemble what is the character Motaro. I know you're a human being at the end of the day, but I say there's so much effects and so much props that goes into making Motaro.
Yes, that's true. I would spend anywhere from 5 to 7 hours in makeup before anybody else got to the studio, and it was quite a long process. So basically, I would wear the legs that I were like pants that I slipped into, almost like a wetsuit type material that they made out of a special type of rubber. But I had to get my entire body cast from my toes all the way up to the top of my head in London, England. So that was quite an experience. And the practical makeup, like I said, took about anywhere from 4 to 5 hours a day, and consisted of those elbow spikes and the horns and a lot of body paint. And then I had a set of teeth that was made, and it was quite a long process. But of course, like you said, I couldn't just step in and step out. They used different types of tails. They had an animatronic tail that was 15 feet long that somebody operated from behind sometimes, and they had a piece that if they just shot close up from my front, then they didn't need the person in back, but then they had a whole other rubber piece that attached to my back that was the whole back end of the horse, which somebody actually got inside of and had to walk with me when I was walking, which was really interesting. Very hot for that guy back there. It was tough in the sense that I couldn't sit basically or lay down, because if I did, it would destroy the makeup. So it made for very long days. I pretty much had to stand or kneel and not touch anything, because the elbow spikes or the makeup they painted on me would rub off. And interestingly enough, the horns were kind of spring-loaded horns, so they stayed really tight to my temples, and because of that, it gave me incredible migraine headaches almost every single day that I was on set. And that was probably the most painful part. I had to keep relieving the pressure by pulling one horn, a little bit up at a time. And surprisingly, you just don't think about things, when you get into the movies, you don't realize something small like that, but it sat right on my temple. And then the fake teeth, the prosthetic teeth I wore, literally started cutting my gums up. So they became very tender, very sensitive. So yeah, it wasn't an easy makeup to wear. And I've done a lot of prosthetic work in the past, but that was probably the most difficult makeup I've ever worn before.
Yeah, I suppose the character Motaro, he's a sort of a god-like figure, because he's one of the generals of Shah Khan, and he sort of gives that sort of immortality himself, and Shiva, they're sort of blood kind of related. And I suppose that was most of your interactions would have featured with in the movie, would have featured with Shah Khan, with sort of Shiva, and you sort of have to give off that sort of menacing sort of character and sort of that sort of outline. How was that sort of fun to play this sort of a villain type sort of monster, but yet no one could recognize you as such in the movie, given that what Motaro looked like?
Right. That's a good question. Well, I tried to play the character more to my mindset of what would a mix between like a lion and a man be like, even though it was a minotaur. I wanted him to be very animalistic. So if you saw my motions, I was kind of like always swaying back and forth like a big lion does. You see him pacing a lot of times. I always wanted my character to be in movement, as if he was on edge constantly, and little tilts that I did in my face and little things I did with my eyes to make it more of an animalistic type of a character. And interestingly enough, I knew Brian Thompson, who played Shao Kahn, and also my really good friend who played Shiva. And we had a ball together. We just had a lot of fun. So since we knew each other, I think the chemistry came off really, really well between all of us.
And I suppose last thing, Darren, before I let you go, in terms of the Mortal Kombat franchise, it's one of those things, as I said to Chris and Keith, it's like James Bond as much. It's going strong and it's continuing forever in terms of it's sort of growing. Where when you were in 1997, probably 20 years on, the fan audience base, there's been multiple video games come out since then, comics books have come out, and we have a new movie coming out in 2021. And how excited are you to be part of that Illuminati? And I suppose it's something that you'll always forever be remembered in Mortal Kombat, because it's probably like James Bond in one sense, when people look and say, oh, there's Deron McBee, he was in Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Who was he in Mortal Kombat? And probably that starts the intrigue as well. So is it probably one of those sort of iconic roles for you in your career that you'll just say gladly that I'll always be part of this Illuminati?
Right. No, that's a really good point. I was so honored to be able to get this part because, you know, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. I always loved the first one, and I thought what a dream it would be to be in it. But to play Motaro, which, you know, I came to realize was like one of the toughest guys to beat in the game. He was a real bad to the bone guy. And so to have so many fans reach out and say, you know, wow, you did a great job, and are you going to come back in something else? But you really nailed the character. I know fans, they're diehards, you know, they really scrutinize things. So when I got so much positive fan mail, it really made me feel like I did the character justice, and that's what I wanted. And of course, I'm honored to be a part of that. I've done a couple toy fairs where I've been able to sign autographs, and I've gotten like tons of fan art from people that draw pictures of Motaro and send it to me. And it's just really special. And I'm really thankful to be a part of this. Like you said, it's like James Bond. It's immortal. You know, this just goes on, and the characters are beloved by their fans. So yeah, I'm super, super thankful to be a part of that.
On that note, Deron McBee, a pleasure talking to you this evening, for sharing your Mortal Kombat memories in the wake of the new release of the movie January 2021. And thanks for sharing your thoughts on playing the character Motaro in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I suppose, as Keith said to me and Chris said to me, you'll be very much along similar lines. I say, Deron, if an opportunity came for a cameo role in the new movie, I'd say you'd gladly sign on as well.
Oh, thank you. You know, I'd jump right on that. That'd be awesome.
Deron, take care.
Hey, thank you so much. And you guys take care. God bless you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Cheers. Thank you.
Fight.